I got into journaling last year and actually started with a pretty low budget. That's because I'm using this basic but super cute tiny planner, and I DIY most of my inserts and even covers. Today, I'll show you my process of making a quarterly planning page. I have multiple planners for journaling, probably like some of you do. And one of my main ones is this mini 5-ring binder planner, super tiny and cute. It's also called M5, short for mini 5-ring, I believe, in Japan and China. And the size is quite popular in those regions. I love it because it's so small and cute, and it just takes me a few minutes to fill up a page. So journaling or writing doesn't feel like a chore to me. This planner is also transparent. It's PVC, so it's great for DIY. So there are slots for me to insert covers, and of course it's a rain binder and I can add my own pages. I actually created many of the inserts and even the covers using my own art. So I put my watercolor drawing into the binder. And I also put this super adorable Chikawa bookmark in my journal to jump to my last written page easily. So M5 is tiny and cute, but sometimes I do want more space to write in scrapbook. And actually I can still do it in my M5, to a certain extent at least, using a folded page. This is exactly what I did for my quarterly planning insert. So I wanted to have a quarterly page where I can put all my key events and travels in one place, like this one with my travels for Q4 2024. And now I'm gonna create a Q1 and Q2 page for 2025. It's gonna be a trifold page since there are 3 months in one quarter, and I find the size to be relatively reasonable and not too tiny for my handwriting. So a contrast is this 6-month planning page that came with my Filofax mini planner, which is also an M5 size, which is actually like A8. And it has 6 months on one page, and on the other side, the other 6 months of the year. But each row is just too tiny for me. So I'm going for a quarterly page instead. And I'm just gonna do it single-sided, since sometimes my writing would bleed through the page depending on the pen that I'm using. And it's also just easier to do one-sided printing. So on one piece of A4 paper, which is the standard paper size in the UK, I can do 2 trifold pages. So January till June, with some empty space left at the bottom. And I can put 2 regular inserts there. I try to utilize as much space off the paper as possible. In case you're wondering what the colored rows are, they are the weekends. And if I'm just doing regular inserts, I can actually put 8 inserts on one single piece of A4 paper. So the M5 size is pretty economical because when I print one piece of A4 paper, I would have 8 pages. So after the A4 file is ready, I just print it at home because I have a printer. But sometimes I gotta experiment with the margins a little bit since I'm not leaving much margin at all. So I printed once and then tried another one to create more margin by changing the scale of the document to like 98%. If you don't have a printer at home, you can go to print shops or library or even at school to get your inserts printed. So now let's cut the pages out with the paper cutter, and you can always just use a pair of scissors to cut them out too. And after that, I'd use a hole punch to punch 5 holes from my 5 rings binder. And now comes the satisfying time, well, at least for me, which is to fold the pages. And I'll use a regular insert to measure the fold. Since I'm just making the inserts for myself, so the folds don't have to be perfect. Now let's put all the inserts into my planner and take a mini tour of my planner. I'm gonna put these quarterly planning pages at the front. And I'm gonna put the regular inserts closer to the back after my most recent journal page. So these are more examples of some of my folded pages. So there's one trifold page that I designed for putting photos. That's why I drew a film roll there. I also have a folded page with a map on it, and I plan to put all my travel destinations, at least for that year, in there. And even an empty folded page just for random scribbling and doodling. So this is how I create my quarterly planning trifold pages for my M5 journal. I went to New York in January, so now I can put it in my Q1 page. If you're interested in getting your own M5 journal, so how much does it cost to get started? If you want to use a similar set of supplies and tools, one place to look for budget-friendly options is AliExpress. AliExpress has a website and also an app, so I use the app, and a lot of the vendors ship internationally. So if you type in M5 planner, there are actually quite many things that come up. Like this one is a 3-fold transparent M5 planner, and I see that they have slots for you to insert covers, back covers, and other stuff as well. So the cost is 1.7-ish pounds, and the price might be different depending on where you are located. So this is another transparent M5 planner. It doesn't have slots for you to insert covers, but you can always make your first page as your cover. So this is another one that has some pockets for you to insert stuff as well. Another essential tool is a hole punch, and you can search for M5 hole punch too, and this is exactly the one that I use. It punches 4mm holes, relatively small, but match well with my tiny M5 inserts. It is about 9 pounds, so definitely a bit expensive, but it can punch holes for other sizes too. So I use it not only for my M5 planner, but also for my A7 and A6 frame binders. I've used it so many times because I've created so many inserts, so it is definitely worth the investment for me. A printer is not a must because you can print your inserts at so many other places, and you can use a pair of scissors to cut out the pages instead of using a paper cutter. So if you get a 2-pound planner and a 9-pound hole punch, you can get started with as little as 11 pounds. Comment below if you like this video, and I will make more M5 journaling videos.